Hi, and welcome to this episode of the RV Foodie. It's been a rich, joyful, and challenging few weeks. This summer, as we set out, it was right about the time that George Floyd was murdered, and protests were happening all over the country. And in that time, I heard an interview with Toni Tipton-Martin. The James Beard Award-winning book that she wrote was called The Jemima Code. And the subsequent book that came out of that book was Jubilee. And she writes about the silencing of black cooks, about black chefs. Toni gives them names. She places them in history from centuries ago to current day and reclaims space. In one of the first sections of this book, meatballs and barbecue sauce. This dish, a dish called forced steak, appears in the first recipe collection published by a free woman of color, Melinda Russell, in 1866, a domestic cookbook. In 1866. And we act like there's some amazing thing that we came up with in a recent church cookbook. And on. Recipes that are familiar, that we take for granted and don't get attributed to the people who actually created them. It's hard. It's hard reading these and not seeing the connection to current situations where we continue to silence, we continue to dismiss, we continue to take credit, we continue to kill people as if they didn't matter, as if they didn't contribute or aren't contributing or aren't making a difference or aren't changing our cultures in beautiful and profound ways. That this book and the Jemima Code sets the record straight. That these folks that have developed these recipes over centuries have as much talent and should be as celebrated as the best chefs that we know today. This book is not just about violence and silencing. It is mostly about hope. The soups and salads collected here speak to the spirit of power, hope, and abundance. The welcome's ancestral call to hospitality, inspired by abundant fruits, vegetables, and other rich ingredients, and the sense of joy in cooking that nurtures community. The exciting things that I find in these pages are people who, despite all of this horror, are hopeful and welcoming and warm, despite people in power's best efforts. These voices will not go away. These people will not be silenced. This resilience will continue to impact each and every one of us, whether we know it or not. And so we meet around the table, walk in to the door of a house that smells of welcome, in a pot a pot that brings hope, that brings together ingredients that can be humble or extravagant, and bring joy and life. And we have the best chowder. Corn, potato with some harvested crab, baked bread that is fresh from a local bakery, and some of our most favorite rosé, a Pinot rosé from our friends at J. Wrigley. I can't wait to dig in. And fresh, yummy local butter. As the leaves are changing, this is gonna be the perfect end to this day. I made this recipe for corn and potato chowder with crab based on centuries of Black cooks and chefs. And this recipe is not available online, so you won't be able to find it on my blog. You'll be able to find it right in the Jubilee cookbook, which I strongly suggest you go grab yourself a copy of. Toni Tipton-Martin starts the introduction, and she says, "As I knelt on the cool hardwood floor in my home office, surrounded by books that spanned nearly 200 years of Black cooking, I realized my ancestors had left us a very special gift. A gift of freedom, culinary freedom. And like the biblical Jubilee that marks restoration of a people through deliverance, rest, and land conservation, and like Jubilee Day celebrations marking the emancipation of enslaved Americans, our culinary Jubilee is also about liberation and resilience. Our cooking, our cooks, shall be free from caricature and stereotype. We have earned the freedom to cook with creativity and joy." Yum. I think this book is about freedom. It's about reclaiming history and the stories and the gifts and the talents of people over multiple centuries.